boxing clever. What
You
they're
think that's
doing,
clever?
yeah, I do think it's clever.
Hang on a minute, isn't it passing off?
Remember, we're not in election time at this moment in time, so you're entitled to put out what you want. Now, what they're doing, Reform have been throwing bricks, if you like, big bricks, and they're aiming at, generally speaking, people who are, I use the word advisedly, not necessarily overly educated. In other words, lower echelons. And what Labour are doing is throwing bricks back. In other words, doing the same kind of trick, if you like, call it that, call it a game, call it a war, call it what you like, but they're fighting fire and fire with fire. So in other words, they're doing the exact type of advertisement as Reform have been doing against the Labour government.
Can I just double check? Did I hear you correctly? Are you basically saying that people voting for Reform or backing Reform aren't very bright?
I'm not saying that. There's polls out that say that, actually. I'm not saying it. I'm saying I'm following the polls that actually say that the majority, that the people, the education value in this country in terms of the top and the bottom.
Here we go again, folks. Apparently, if you're a Reform voter, you're scraping the bottom of the educational barrel. Yep, we're all just a bunch of clueless half-wits who wouldn't know a policy from a pothole. Now, forgive me for using my uneducated brain, but I've seen Reform voters with master degrees in psychology, business graduates, engineers and entrepreneurs. But sure, let's pretend we're all just grunty Neanderthals who stumbled into a polling station by accident. This is what they think of you. This is how the so-called higher echelons of a London lefty bubble see the average British citizen. We're nothing to them, just an inconvenience, a bit of dirt on the shoe, or, as the BBC types call us, the great unwashed. And they wonder why people have had enough. And here's the classic trick again. They say we don't know what we're voting for. Does that sound familiar to you? We didn't know what we was voting for with Brexit. The same story, blah blah blah. It's them who need a mirror, because last time I checked, we knew exactly what we're voting for. We just don't want people like them speaking for us. Because let's be real, they haven't got a clue. They don't live our lives. They don't pay our bills. They've never had to stretch the last tenner or the last 20 quid until payday. They've never had to pick between heating or eating, but somehow they're experts on all of this. Give me a break. So, to Jim Dale, the meteorologist turned political genius, I've got a message for you. 4 million people knew exactly what they were voting for. And guess what? You lot are about to have another shock. Just like Brexit. Remember how you thought, oh, give them a referendum, we'll win anyway. And then you lot lost, and then you cried about it for years, and you're still crying about it now. I'd start getting the tissues ready again, because round 2 is coming. The truth is, those Reform voters are just hard-working, decent, down-to-earth people who just want to live in peace and prosperity. What's wrong with that? These people that are flooding to Reform now are not just from conservative areas, they're also from Labour. So the question is why? Because nothing happens with these same two parties. They're just a copy and paste of each other, full of people like you who sit in their little media bubbles, calling us fake, expecting us to take it and still tick the same box on the ballot paper. The truth is, people are connecting with Reform because they actually stand for the average British citizen. If that bothers you, then I'm sorry, you lot have had so many chances over the years. Meanwhile, here's some good news. The latest poll results are in.
Percent is Reform UK up 2 points. Labour on 25 points. Conservatives on 18 down 3 points. Interestingly, Labour's gone up 2 points, which I find absolutely extraordinary. Lib Dems on 13%, Greens on 10. We'll bring you that poll, hopefully, as soon as we can. That is the first poll. We've then got a second poll as well, which is from YouGov, which pretty much says the same. What's going on, Noah?
I think this is what you tend to see in the early years.
There we go. There's YouGovs for you. Sorry. So Reform. I mean, this is pretty interesting. 25 for Reform. You can read it for yourselves, but Noah.
Well. Looks like all those people voting in that poll must be uneducated, unwashed, far-right populists. I'm surprised they knew how to use the keyboard and mouse. I mean, surely all those people must be one big collective accident, or maybe they're actually hard-working, decent, British people who are fed up to the back teeth with what's going on in this country. Shocking, I know. Someone fetch me the smelling salts. The list of problems we're fed up with, endless. All we know is the cost of living crisis, mass migration, failing public services, out of touch politicians. It just never ends. But instead of fixing it, what do the Labour and the Tories do? They just keep pointing fingers at each other while nothing happens. It's like swapping deck chairs on the Titanic and expecting a different outcome. Labour, Tories, you're just two cheeks of the same backside, and we've been wiping the mess off for years. We get rid of one and we've got exactly the same thing in a different coloured tie. We've been voting for change for a long time. You're not listening. None of you are delivering. It's all change this, fix that, build a new foundation. Keir Starmer, fixing the foundations. Fucking blah de blah blah. Where's the action? Where's the progress? We've heard nothing but empty promises for years and people have had enough. So, folks, if you've enjoyed this, had a bit of a laugh, or at least didn't throw your phone across the room in frustration, do me a favour, like, comment, unless you're Jim Dale, sit this one out, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.